Lydia Anderson, and today I'm going to be doing my final presentation from the course, The Local Church in Evangelism. I have loved this course so far, and I'm very happy to be able to do this presentation. I'm going to be talking about two things. First thing is going to be the theology of evangelism, and the second is going to be why evangelism and apologetics are needed now more than ever, especially within the society that we are in and the state of a lot of people's religion beliefs. So these are the two things that we're going to be talking about today, and let's start with the theology of evangelism. So the first thing that we're going to be talking about, the gospel comes as a message from heaven, the revelation of God's quest for his people, ever seeking to save the lost. That's basically the one-off definition of the gospel, of the definition of evangelism. So there are 5 steps to evangelism that we need to understand for theology-wise. First one, sovereignty of God. God is ever sovereign. There is nothing that happens without his foolproof designation / oversight. He's all-powerful, he's all-knowing, and there's nothing that happens without him declaring it. Second, predicament of humanity. The problem that humanity is in. See, when the fall happened, sin came into the world and it left us without a solution to get out of the fall. And then step 3, because we were in that predicament, we needed someone to save us, which is when the incarnate Savior happened. That's when Jesus happened. And after that, the 4th thing, transformation of the Spirit. That is when we transform from being an old creation into a new creation. That's what happens after salvation when it comes into a restoration of what God has created. And then finally, we have fellowship of the gospel. That's when there's fellowship within creation again, and the gospel brings us all together. So this is theology of evangelism, the 5 steps that we need to nail down when we evangelize. So, let me know the 5 things that we need to do for evangelism. I want to talk about why evangelism and apologetics are needed now more than ever. So, we don't need new methods or answers, pray tell, for evangelism, but we need a fresh confidence in the gospel. See, the modern culture is individualistic, and we need to learn how to preach to it. Not everyone is going to be the same. Evangelism is usually one-on-one unless you're doing a large revival-based sermon, but at least in my experience and what I've learned from many pastors and this course is that most of the time it's individualistic, which means it's very subjective on how someone will receive it. So, raise the correct questions. That's the main thing. Evangelism outline. First thing, ask the correct questions. When you come in contact with someone that you are trying to evangelize to, that you're trying to give the gospel to, you need to ask the correct questions. We're not going to ask questions like, what are all the things that you have ever done wrong? Or something like that. Instead, we're going to ask questions like, why do you believe what you believe? I'd love to understand better. Or, have you ever been to church? If not, what's holding you back? Things that allow the other person to speak into it instead of just feel like they're being preached at, because that's a lot of times how people feel. Next thing, if you're going to be evangelizing, you need to listen well. You see, if someone is going to be talking about their personal faith journey, what they're going through as a person, you need to be able to listen and not try to jump in with your opinion, because most times people will not be receptive to that. And it's a sensitive thing, which is why patience is key. We need to be able to, it might be a long run. It might not just be a one-off conversation. It might be a discipleship that needs to happen. And after that, we need to give focused attention, make sure that we're paying attention to exactly what they're saying. We're listening well. We're being active listeners, which is why asking questions is within that. And then also being patient. You see, if we do these 4 things, a lot of times people will be more receptive to evangelism. And it's needed now more than ever, because the modern culture is individualistic and we need to know how to preach to it. And that is all that I have for this final presentation. I have learned so much from this course, and I am so excited to apply it to the rest of my life as I lean forward in evangelism and being able to speak about what the Lord has done in my life through my testimony to hopefully bring more people to Jesus. So thank you so much. I would love to hear any feedback that you have for me. Go ahead and email me if you want to tell me anything or ask me any questions about it. I'd love to respond. But thank you.